Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are doing well today. So in this video, I'm going to be being boosted. Now, some people might be like, what? Like, that's really taboo and things like that. And the whole thing around boosting is, and that's why I created that video a little while ago now around boosting and how it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Should it be involved in the game? Me personally, I think it has a place in the game. I think boosting is a strong economy value. But yeah, so I'm being boosted in a Miss 14. The cost of the run was 100,000 gold. Now, again, some people may be like, 100,000 gold, that's a lot of money. Is it? Is it a lot of money? Some people spend millions on BOEs at the start of the expansion that will be replaced within 10 minutes in the first tier. Some people go into buy the Dark Moon cards at the start of the expansion, which are like 400-500k at times. All of this, actually, if you look at all of it, is this the most expensive thing in the world? And is it something that is unreasonable? I don't think it is. I typically buy a boost if, especially at the moment where like a lot of my guildies don't want to play the game, they're just taking some time off until 9.1. I actually haven't really got that many people online constantly that want to play the game. So for me to get through a high level key on new characters, I have to buy a boost, and that's fine, it's not a problem. I've got absolutely nothing against that. I'm completely okay with this because, like I said, I get enjoyment out of it. It's not the most amount of money. Don't get me wrong, some of like the higher level boosts are crazy expensive, so I understand that it can get very expensive. This is really hurting me. But yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why I really wanted to do this video specifically, and there's going to be a couple of videos over the next couple of days, or actually in the last couple of days, I'm recording them in a weird order, that might not quite make such sense in that let me go back. The reason I wanted very specifically to commentate this video was because I was being boosted. I knew I was going to get this boost, and there's a couple of reasons. So one is the fact that I wanted people to see it. I wanted people to experience it and witness it. If you are someone who has either never boosted before and therefore don't know what it looks like, don't know what the environment is, or someone who has boosted or whatever, or disagrees with boosting even, all of these things that really contribute to people's opinions around the market. So this was something that I'm interested in, and I hope you guys are interested in it as well, from purely like a social aspect, instead of just going, oh, you're getting boosted, you suck, because ultimately I'm as good as these players. I have as high Raider IO as most of these players. If I'd have played the game consistently, I'm better geared than both of these boomies on my main. So I'm not worried that I'm doing it through a skill gap difference. I'm not worried that I'm worse than them and therefore I'm being boosted into content that I don't deserve to be in. I don't deserve to be there because my gear level isn't high enough, and that's the big thing. So we are on a fortified, inspiring, storming week. So I haven't actually done any keys this week, and it's a shame because it's not a horrible week. Inspiring is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but yeah, so hopefully actually going to pump some damage. Now, some things with boosts is that you can typically, especially like 14, 15 keys, you typically can just go AFK if you want to. I learn a lot from these runs, especially when I was just getting into like tanking and things like that at higher keys. I learned a lot in terms of like routes and things like that. I learned from players who actively tank, and they actively tank speed runs and things like that because they're doing it in a boosting environment. And I did genuinely learn quite a lot from it. And you really can. This is a great opportunity to play with players that are doing content that you obviously want to be involved in. So I'm not going to learn too much from this. Like I said, I'm doing content that for me isn't particularly hard. I'm basically at this point paying for the group and for the DPS because I wouldn't be able to obviously DPS a group like this. I'm expecting this pride to kick my ass, actually. Let's go and stand in his... I was trying to avoid the stormings, but let's go and stand in here. So we're being careful not to burn mana. I'm going to move so he doesn't have to. I'm going to hit that other boom if he's not careful, though. We are going to burn mana here because we have Evocate, and it's a fortified week. So again, I'm not expecting to do too much damage, but let's see how much damage we can do. We are 172 eye level at the moment, so let's see what damage we can do. Let's set ourselves that little challenge. The boss is absolutely chunking me, so I'm going to focus on survivability just a little bit as well. So, we are going to hold all of our cooldowns. I'm expecting that this will kind of fall over and we'll go straight into burn phase. So I'm just going to go into a nice conserve. Still don't have a legendary, by the way. I've got the Soul Ash potentially to make a legendary. But none of the wings were open this week that dropped the legendary I wanted. I've got the Raid legendary, potentially if I wanted it, but yeah, I wanted the Mythic Plus one first, and I probably want to max that one first. So let's go. Big burn phase here. Let's see what we can hit. We're actually chunking a little bit. We beat the healer. I tried to loot the boss then. That shows how rusty I am. Yeah, we actually chunked a little bit. And we still had cooldowns left, which is nice. So I'm going to offer to do the maze. I expect they'll probably say no just because I'm the one being boosted. But I've done boosts before where people have offered to do like certain mechanics, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. Doesn't means I don't have to. I can just worry about DPSing. But yeah, so we've in the recent days, but like I said, we say probably a little bit of spoilers actually. Although, yeah, sorry, the way I've recorded these videos, because I can't, so for those that aren't aware, during the day I actually can't voice comms or anything like that, or use microphone or anything like that, because I'm at home and I've got family working from home. But it means that then I'm recording during the day footage, but not recording comms, so I'm having to go back and do it afterwards. Whereas now I'm actually recording while playing, so you might be able to hear clicking and things in the background. If you can, I do apologise. But yeah, like, it's a bit of a different environment. Yeah, so I've recorded the 2 Torghast runs we've done. We did one solo, which was an interesting experience at low eye level. But actually Frost made it interestingly easy. And we did some other stuff as well. So yeah, world bosses, time walking, all that good stuff. So yeah. So my focus here, I'm not going to contribute too much to the DPS. So I'm just going to make sure that I get the maze done, give them the chance to maximize the DPS. And again, if you were being boosted traditionally, you wouldn't need to do any of this stuff. In fairness, I don't need to do any of this stuff. I'm doing it because it's a good environment. It's a good opportunity to do it. I don't lose too much by doing it. We've still popped our cooldowns here, so we're still going to be able to actually pump a little bit of damage, hopefully. I'm not using shifting power very well at all. So let's get into another one of that. Let's drop another Arcane Barrage. And let's go this way. So reset. Bang. So for those that are interested, this add-on is called Miss of the Turner Scythe Helper, and you basically just click the maze exit from the maze icons that come up. So it's this one, and yeah, it's really, really simple and easy to use, and it's very, very effective. If you have multiple people, it can get a bit weird sometimes, but yeah, it's a very effective add-on. So I'm not using, I'm not playing this very well at all. Like, I could be using more Runa powers, I could be using shifting power much better, etc. But that's kind of the point of being boosted, is that you can just relax and enjoy it and take it easily. Yeah, so our goals as of next week. So next week, I believe it's a PvP week or something. It's a battleground week. May actually do a little bit of PvP next week. I will get my PvP legendary next week. So we're going to drop Alter Time, actually. That's a good idea. Yeah, so we'll get our PvP legendary next week from the weekly vault, which is the barrage one, or the shield one, the barrier one. Yeah, we'll maybe even try and do some PvP, because there is some stuff that's good from PvP. You can get some like decent conduits and stuff like that at early eye levels, which is nice. So I'm going to ice block here, mainly because I'm getting chunked by this right now. Because here it says it's doing 2.5k. It's very, very punchy, maybe the word. Obviously, we are very low eye level for this, so I do expect it to be somewhat interesting. So I'm going to get the other maze done, blah, 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 blah. So for those don't understand how the maze works at all, effectively there are 4 different colours, as you can see up here. These are all the different icons that can come in, and the idea is you find the odd one out. So if you have 3 with a circle and 1 without, it's the one without. If you have 3 that are coloured in and 1 that isn't, it's the one that isn't coloured in. It's quite an interesting mechanic, but the randomness of it has already proved to be an issue for Blizzard in things like MDI. And it's interesting to see whether things like that will end up becoming less and less relevant in the game, because Blizzard don't want RNG. I actually know how many of these I've done properly, so I think it's that one, although I might actually die. Yeah, I did this properly, it's fine. So again, we're not playing this well at all. Damn, that chamois is pumping. I've seen this actually with the new Resto chamois. It's not new, but Resto chamois is now running the Earthquake legendary. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. I saw a PvP clip of who was it? Oh, it was Peekaboo doing arenas on his new druid. And the chamois in that was like blowing people up. It's pretty impressive, actually. So I'm going to burn all of our mana here because we have Evocate. Probably shouldn't have Rune Powered yet. So it is that one because it's the only one that's not coloured in. I'm going to make sure we actually get the sheep off. Oh, never mind. The chamois just definitely stood in that. Luckily, we have 2 boomies, so I'm not that worried. Other than for my health. But if I die, I die. So, boss gets down. Next time, we're going to try and sheep the dog. We're trying to sheep the dog. Should make it a little bit easier. Although that chamois did not move at all. So we've actually got a really nice... God damn it. So we've got a couple of clear casts here. Let's actually do some damage, or our equivalent of damage, which is little to nothing. So it's this one that I'm stood next to because it's the only one with a circle. So again, we're just going to sheep it off, and that'll last long enough as long as none of the boomies get excited with their dots. Now I'm still going to have to stick into the conserve phase just because I don't have Evocate up, but I do have Arcane Power in 10 seconds. So after the next balls, I think we're going to start doing some prep. So we're going to drop that, we're going to cast this. I'm not going to CC this dog. While, yes, I'm the weakest probably member of the group, I mean, by a mile, I'm actually in my cooldown window. I will still do something, so I'm going to contribute rather than just waste it. Not that it mattered. Didn't do any DPS anyway. So it is the leaf. It's the only leaf. I know my UI is quite messy. Is that, does that bother people? So for me, it doesn't bother me. I know what I'm looking for and where I'm looking for it, so it just doesn't bother me. But I guess for people, if they have nice tidy UIs, especially if this bloody thing's in the way, it will probably bother people. Which is not what I want. So I'd have liked to have set myself a little challenge to beat the tank at the start of this. I think the tank's going to be running the DPS legendary. He is, so that'd have been a very hard ass. Holding 3.5k, I should be able to do that. Let's see if we can catch up. Our goal is to get as close as we can in overall to the tank. So it's possible to do it. I mean, we've got some big packs coming up. It's definitely possible, but let's see what happens. Are they going to flap down? I've seen this new thing where people like flap down there, which just to skip these 3 mobs because they're inefficient. You can pull 4 or 5 packs later on, but tank's here now. So I'm going to go in, do full AoE rotation here. Probably should have Runa powered first. Going to drop Touch of the Magi, expecting the kick to come up in a second. But I'm going to shifting power, so someone else will have to get it. Into another Arcane Orb. Bang, the explosion goes down. Getting knocked around all over the place. I did manage to get that kick, though. And we're just into traditional Arcane Explosion spam. And of course, I say that we're going to try and catch up with the tank. The tank is now topping DPS. Of course. So, going to actually drop Rune of Power into Touch of the Magi, which is the way I should do it properly. Got a clear cast proc here, let's use that. And we're going to try and pump a little bit of damage. Again, we're not going to be like one-shotting things. I'm not sure how viable it is going to be for me to stick to Arcane throughout this whole challenge. And the reason for that is it just seems to do good DPS. It seems to do good DPS AoE and very good burst damage single target, but outside of that it seems to do very weak damage. But that's kind of the same for fire. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. At the moment we're going to start Arcane. That's the first legendary I was going to craft is Arcane. And we'll go from there. So I'm actually going to pop cooldowns here. And let's see what happens. So bang, into Arcane Orb, into bang, into... I pulled more by accident. That's bad. That's my fault. So I'm going to... Oh, they dispelled it off. Okay. So that was absolutely my fault. Can't fault anyone else for that. Although I am pumping on DPS, so we'll claim it as we're carrying. Now you just imagine if I had another 50 eye level, huh? Because that is the difference between me and these boomies right now, is 50 eye level. So again, I used Arcane Power there, so it's an artificial spike, but it is a cooldown, so it's there to be used. So we are going to drop Rune of Power on this one. Is he going for all of them? No, he's not. So bang, get the kick, into another Arcane Barrage, into a Touch of the Magi, into another Arcane Barrage, into Arcane Explosion spam. So the rotation's very, very simple for Arcane. Yeah, it's quite effective. I mean, playing Fire compared to playing Arcane, Fire is like 50 times harder. So yeah, I mean, definitely enjoying Arcane for its simplicity at the moment. Don't get me wrong, someone commented the other day and went, you can do like this with your clear casting procs to get more DPS, and I'm like, absolutely, I'll take the advice. And I'm 100% aware that there is more that I could be doing. Just at the moment, I don't really need to. And that's not saying that I'm topping DPS. It's just saying that I'm doing content where an extra 100 DPS or so isn't going to make the biggest difference. Okay, so this is a little bit annoying. So we're going to touch the Magi here. I'm actually going to burst a little bit. Let's get out of the poison. I do love Shimmer. Oh my god, I'm getting really used to Shimmer. As a boomy, we had like Stellar Drift, which was great because it was... we could just cast while moving in almost all the time in Mythic Plus. But I've played things like Warlock where you're very, very, very stuck. And Mage just feels so mobile compared to it. It's crazy. So what we're actually going to do in a second, the Chamois seems to be suffering right now. We have a Pride on 20 stacks at 55% health. Did one of the druids die? Or is he just AFK? Okay. One of the druids is just AFK. Oh, he DC'd. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to sit in Ice Block for a second. In fact, actually, let's just burn Arcane Power. And let's... So I sat in that, hoping that I could reduce the healer's like need to heal me just while we're in this. But actually, if the other druid isn't here, I'm going to try and do as much damage as I can instead. So normally you'd never pop your cooldowns here, but it was a nasty situation. Again, if I wasn't here, that'd have probably been fine. The healer seems very strong. But hey, ultimately, I'm a believer that if you're being boosted, you should still contribute. So we're not going to use any cooldowns here. Not that we'll have big cooldowns up for the boss anyway. But yeah, so we're going to go into that. Doop-a-doo. Although we still got quite a bit of percentage, so I could probably burn Touch of the Magi and not worry about it too much. But they may choose to just go into the boss since it's not a tyrannical week. No, they are going to go and do the trash first. Okay. So the terms of this boost isn't that I will get it. You can ask for like different things, but specifically I said I needed it to be a 14. That's it. Didn't ask for it to be timed or anything like that. It's typically that it will be timed if it's under 15 or 15 or under now. I didn't want a 15, and the reason I didn't want a 15 is obviously if we're pushing for Keystone Master, I want it to be done by ourselves rather than be boosted. I'm taking a ton of damage in a second. Don't like that at all, so let's do what we can here to not die. So I'm going to drop altar time here. If we take a little bit more damage, doesn't matter. We dropped the altar just before the Chamois healed, so we got actual benefit from the heal. And Arcane Orb through the middle of these, drop another barrage. This poison is kicking my ass. That's not good. So I'm going to go around and spell steal a couple of these. One, because it'll just stop me dying. And two, because it helps. So we were doing some decent damage there for a minute, actually. I was quite impressed. And we missed it by 1%. That's unfortunate. Not even 1%. 0.62. I'm interested to know, like, the problem is with this dungeon is the maze, like, makes up all of this. So we could have, like, gone left instead of right in the maze through RNG, and it would have sorted this out for us entirely. So we're going to drop that as well. Bam-de-bam. So when we go through our actual, like, burst opener with Rune of Power, we're kicking out, like, 5k DPS, which isn't huge, but we can do that almost every pack. So I'm still pretty happy with that. Yeah, I'll take it. So I'm going to hold Touch of the Magi. I'm going to hold everything now. One, we've got Pride, and then we're going to go straight into Boss. And I would like to see what I can do on Boss. We haven't got anywhere close to the tank. The tank's actually pulled it back massively in terms of DPS, but I suppose it is a pally tank. So get these globules down. Put a shield on. If you like it, then you should have put a shield on it. And we're just going to go into a nice conserve phase. Even popped a mana gem there. I don't want to have to use Evocate before the boss. And I imagine as soon as this dies, we're going to the boss. So this isn't actually like the craziest boost group I've been in terms of like DPS. As you can see, like, we're not miles away from them, and like I said, if I compare, let's compare to him, I think he's like 226, 222, like it's still 50 eye level. So we're going to do this into that, and then we're going to burst. I really don't like this boss because you don't get to stand still very often. Yeah, we're not really doing all too much damage. I suppose when you're trying to compete with two boomies casting Convoke, that's going to happen. Of course, we actually get like infinite mana with Pride. This is something I've wanted to test for a while. Is that obviously Pride gives mana, and Arcane Mages but literally just burn mana, and it's as good as I thought it would be in that we can literally just spam Arcane Blast. Once we're geared, that's going to be very, very scary. I think we're going to see some insane boss kills with this. But hey, we've killed it, we've done it. Obviously, all down to our own skill, nothing to do with the boosters. An Unbound Changeling dropped. Nothing for me. How sad. I didn't get my legendary. Is he going to give me the Changeling? I can't use that one, buddy. See if I can get the changeling. But yeah, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll new video out tomorrow. Catch you later, guys. Bye.